Right?
Let's see if anyone comes on.
How many square feet is this? So.
Okay. All right, I think you're good. I think everyone's just auto entering, which would be nice. This guy.
How much?
Fancy meeting you here. There. How are you? Good, how are you?
Okay, you're good. Sometimes it's those like.
By the way, I want to go back to the beginning.
Oh, is it not in the beginning?
Is this the presentation? Because those some of these slides I hid. So,
I hate it.
no, I hid.
Oh, hid.
So if you go over here, I think
Which slide do you want to be on? This
I'm
one?
going to start on that
This one?
Yeah.
Okay,
one. I don't want to start on that one.
this one?
No, all the way up. There.
That.
I think that's good.
The hid one shouldn't
Yeah, they should.
show.
Let me see that.
The inspections?
I think we're good. I don't think
Okay.
they're going to show.
Okay.
We had the best.
And I'm not going to go through all the slides. I just put some.
That's all right. Sounds good. It's all you, Larry.
So we're not waiting for Justin.
No.
Okay.
Bailed on me.
All right.
I tried to get a second person, they bailed on me too.
No worries.
Thank God you showed up.
Sure, yeah. So the topic today is price, pricing, price reductions,
And then.
price improvements. I think is a little bit more, sounds better when you're talking to a seller, a price improvement. So I went into my archives and I found a presentation that I used probably a decade ago or more, because it's been a seller's market for about a decade already. Hey, Lee. So I went back like over a decade to see what we were doing back then in terms of getting price reductions or price improvements. So I have a few slides I'm going to share with you. But before I do, I came across this slide. I thought it would be neat to share. So when you're talking about success, yes, when you're 4 years old, success is not peeing your pants.
True.
True? Gwen, when you're 12,
When you're 12, with friends.
you're having friends. That's success. 16 or 17, it's just having a driver's license. At 35, it's having some money. At 50, it's still having some money. And then at 70, success is just having a driver's license. And at 75, yep. And at 80, it's not paying your pants. So that's kind of like what we're doing today in the real estate market, right? 10, 15 years ago, it's been about that long. Price reductions were an everyday occurrence. There were more price reductions every day than listings. I remember when listings had birthdays, like they were on the market for a year.
Wow.
I'm dating myself.
I was gonna say, you're.
Yeah. But we're going to talk a little bit. So it's kind of like this, right? It just comes. So, yeah, we have a choice to make. It's really hard to recommend an asking price or a listing price to a seller, and then having to come back a little bit later and do what?
Improvement.
Right? Say I was wrong, and we need to make a price reduction. But this is probably, I enjoy this part of the business because so it's an integral part of the business. You have to go back and ask for a price reduction. I think this presentation or this talk is a little premature. I don't think we're here yet, but it's coming, or they say it's coming.
I've been watching on Brave, there has been a lot of price reductions.
There's been more price reductions, yeah. But we're going to talk about absorption rates because it's really plays all around that. It's still an extremely strong seller's market for the most part. in our area. So here's really the visual that I thought depicts what you don't want to do. And what we don't want to do is chase the market down. We're so much better off pricing it or trying to price it well up front than having to do a price reduction after price reduction. Because the longer the home is on the market, what happens? Less leverage, right? The seller loses all their leverage. And in the market we're coming out of, what are buyers saying after 2 weeks on the market, 10 days on the market?
It's a long time.
What's wrong? What's wrong with it? So then they begin to shy away from it. Something's got to be wrong with it because it hasn't sold in 2 days. So I see so many homes, not so much now, but the market previous to this, where sellers would chase the market down because we were in a depreciating market. You know, we've been in an appreciating market for so long. In fact, if you look at the numbers in the last 18 months, we've probably seen 1% a month in the popular price points. So a home that sold for 400 12 months ago is 440 today. Is that what you're finding?
Somebody doing this with me quite long ago, and they got exactly 35,000 less. I mean,
Less. Yeah.
still-
Well, that's 'cause they didn't list with you.
There you go.
Right. But here's what it looks like. Let's see. So in 2000, it's like 22 years ago, right? This talks to supply and demand, and in our business, we equate it to absorption rates. And I'm going to explain that a little bit. But the basic economics of real estate are the same as any other goods and services. When supply and demand are perfectly matched, is when every prospective buyer can buy what they need and every seller is able to sell what they are offering. The market is said to be balanced, or what we call a normal market, balanced market. And in our business, research has said that about 5 to 6 months of standing inventory is a balanced market. 5 to 6 months. So anything below 6 months is a seller's market. When the inventory rises up over 6 months, it becomes a buyer's market. And then under, right? And this line kind of represents about a 5 to 6 month, which is a standard balanced normal market. So you can see from 2012 to today, a decade, we've been in a seller's market. And in the last 24 months, right, it's been crazy seller's market. Anybody in the business in 06 to 12? Yeah. Remember those days, Ed?
I actually in 208, 209 principal.
Yeah.
On some
Look at this.
places. Crazy stuff.
12, some, right? And the higher the price point, the worse it got. So some absorption rate was 12 months in some markets, some price points. So when you talk about supply and demand in our business, right, we talk about absorption rates, and that's how we calculate the months. And all it is it's supply divided into the demand. So we look at all of the active inventory in any given area. Let's just say Council Rock. So we look to see all the homes that are available for sale in the multiple listing service. And then we look to see how many homes in that same territory went under contract. And we do the math. So if 100 homes are actively on the market and you look back 30 days and 100 homes went under contract, you're at what? 1, right? 1 month supply. Meaning if no new inventory came on the market, it would take 1 month to sell everything we've got. Now, that doesn't really happen, right? Because every day new homes come on the market, every day homes. But this is just a rule of thumb or what we utilize to figure out supply and demand. So if there were 100 homes actively on the market and 50 homes went under contract in the last 30 days, what's our absorption rate? Yes, good. Keep the math easy. 2. So here's what it looks like. Right? So it's all your total actives. And when I learned this, we were looking at homes that went under contract in the last 30 days, because that gave us a real good depiction of what's going on in the current market. If you go to Trend or Bright, they don't do that. How do they do it? So what Bright does is they take the total actives and then they take an average over the last 12 months. So they take 12 months an average, which includes last fall and maybe last summer and earlier this year. So they're averaging how many homes go under contract each and every month. I think you get a better picture if you just look in the rearview mirror and just go back 30 days. So if you have 100 active homes and 10 went under contract in the last 30 days, what's your absorption rate? Yeah. And if it's at 10, what kind of market are you in? Yeah. So I think what this does for us is, 1, it helps to understand the market. But 2, when you're going into a seller's home and asking for a price reduction, it gives you an intelligent conversation to have with a seller. Because we know that somewhere between 5 to 6 months is a normal market. We're still in a strong seller's market, and we'll talk about that. But at some point in the future, it's shifting, and it will go the other way. Which is really irrelevant to us, because we don't own the real estate. We just sell it, right? We're just a broker in the deal, in the transaction. We'll sell them on the way up, and we'll sell them on the way down. So I went into Council Rock today, or the end of the month. There were 142 active listings in Council Rock. In the last 30 days, 88 homes went under contract, right? There's no correlation between these. These are homes that are currently on the market. These are homes that went under contract in the last 30 days. So our absorption rate in Council Rock School District in the last is what? Yeah, so we're still in a what? Yeah, huge seller's market. Now, when you have a home that's maybe having a hard time selling, you may want to break this down by price point. Because like between 400 and 600, I'm finding is a much stronger market, or maybe 1.6 versus maybe $1.2 million, could be higher than this. So it's territory, and I think you got to break it down by price. But you don't want to make your territory too finite, because you don't have enough. You won't have enough to give a true picture. Questions on absorption rate?
So with the ones under contract, just pendings, not closed, right?
So not closed.
Just pending.
Yeah, I don't know if just pendings. You could use active under contract, right?
Right.
But certainly pendings. Right. I don't even know what Trend uses, if they use active under contract in their calculation. But they have if you go into Bright and you can pull it down, they do the math for you.
Right.
It's different than my number. I got to find out what they use. I know they don't use the previous 30 days. They use an average over the course of the previous year.
Well, that makes sense in this market.
What's that?
So that doesn't make any sense in this market.
No, it doesn't make, I mean, it's their formula. I don't know. It makes more sense to use the last 30 days because that really is most recent.
Right.
what happened last fall.
Have you done it for other districts and found that like certain districts are significantly different than others in our area?
Yeah, oh yeah, if you did Pennsbury School, it's gonna be different. It's still gonna be a seller's market.
Right.
I found that none of them are over 5 months yet.
At the lower price point.
At the lower price. point.
Once you get over a certain threshold, then it starts to change.
Oh, yeah.
Like 5 in Upper Midfield.
Is that what it is in Upper Wakefield?
There's one upper.
Oh, 2.5 million, yeah. So we talked about that. So this was created, this is a while back, but I took it out of my notes. And it's pretty accurate. I mean, it is pretty accurate. So at 6 months, right? It's a pretty normal market and homes are appreciating somewhere between 0 and 5% over the course of a year, which is kind of like CPI, right? It's kind of like regular over time, homes go up in value 3-4% a year. So at 6 months, in fact, homes are appreciating anywhere between 0 and 5%. And you can plug this into any market because we're using absorption rates. Now in our market, we're at 2 months absorption. Homes are appreciating like 1.5% a month. We've seen it. Just when the offers come in, they're coming in at 10% over the asking price. But look what happens when you go into a buyer's market. Homes are depreciating at the rate of 0.5%. So, in the market we're in, we've been looking at maybe 2 or 3 months. We don't want the seller to leave any money on the table. So we've been increasing the asking price based on what we believe it would sell for or what it would be valued at 2 or 3 months from now, knowing that prices were going up. In a buyer's market, we're going to have to do the reverse, right? We're better off selling today than waiting until October when prices look like they're going to be less. And again, these are just tools to help you when you're in front of your seller asking for a price reduction.
Size of the home, for example, homes that are over $800,000, homes that are.
I don't think so, because you're talking percentages here. And I think the percentages are pretty close to being accurate. I mean, we'll see how this shift in the market plays out, but I can tell you the last time, this was pretty close to being accurate. Homes were losing value 10%, 15% over the course of a year.
You don't know where this came from, do you?
No,
Made it up last.
I didn't make it up, but it was from one of the articles local. And it's thousands and thousands of transactions that went into this.
But I had to sell a house in 2007 in Northern Virginia. And we had an offer for 400,000, but we weren't sure we were moving up here. And ended up having to short sell it because the market dropped so quickly. And the realtors, we had equity at that point in it. Like, I don't care, we're moving, not coming back, we weren't living there. And the dive in 6 months or something was like $145,000.
That's not even on the chart,
Yeah,
right?
it was insane. Yeah.
But that's what we saw, yeah.
It was-
Today, the home's worth 400. In September, it's gonna be worth 390 or 385, so you have to really.
It was right outside of Fairfax. That was about 7 months. Well, actually maybe 8 because of when we put it up, because we still were there. It was 33 weeks, actually.
So Larry, are you pricing based
No,
on the absorption
Actually,
rate then?
So I take it into account for sure. Like, we've been in such a strong seller's market. We've been seeing appreciation go up by like 1% a month.
So once it does start to shift, well, it already has started, but once it really does shift, Are you pricing 10% below, 5%?
Yeah, maybe not 10% below, because that's gonna be sticker shock to, and it takes some time for the momentum to build up. I think I mean, we're not seeing any depreciation right now. Maybe in the upper price points, but for the most part, in the bread and butter price ranges, we're still seeing multiple offers. So this might be 6 months too soon. They asked me to talk about it, but it's common.
Once it gets to that point, you're going like 85% under.
Yeah, so for example, Sean, we list a home today, right? And it's supposed, and it's, we think it's gonna sell 90 days from now, or close 90 days from now. And the trend in the market is what? It's going up 1% a month. So you might, if you think the CMA is at 400, you might price it at 419 because you know that prices are going up. Same would happen if you were in the opposite direction. Because you don't want the seller to chase that market down. But the price, if they miss the market, and in 30 days from now, you're gonna have that. Yeah. When they would have been much better, what? Pricing it, yeah. So we really haven't had to do much servicing of our listings, right? I mean, they've come on and they've sold. So we're gonna have to get back into the mindset of servicing our listings, especially if they're gonna be on the market for a little bit longer. So it's most important to keep in communication with your seller, yes? It begins to get a little bit more difficult the longer the home's on the market. But I would recommend that you call your seller with good news, bad news, or no news. And after 4 months on the market, you gotta still call that seller. Send them flowers. They don't want flowers, they just want you to sell their home. I can say the biggest complaint that comes into the office. What do you think the biggest complaint?
I haven't heard from my agent.
That's it. I haven't heard from my agent. So it's so important to meet in person when you're going to do your price reduction presentation or meeting. Can't do it on the telephone. Got to make an appointment and go to their home with a file of all your ammunition and reasons why we need to bring the price down. You got to know the facts when you're meeting with your seller. We used to bring, oh my goodness, years ago, we used to bring copies of all the listings, and in big red marker, we would write days on market. And I can remember 80 days on market, 100 days on market. We lay them all out on the table in front of the seller. And see, you want to be 120 days on market? But it was a great visual. And we'd go there with all the listings spread out. These homes haven't sold yet. And here's your home that hasn't sold yet. So we don't want to do it over the telephone. We want to do it. Yeah.
Sorry. So how about the staging?
Yeah. I think it makes the house more saleable. Is it going to change the price? It could. But this is 30 days in and staging didn't work.
Has anybody really been staging in the last year or so?
Yeah,
Just
I was gonna
Yeah.
say.
Because there's no time to.
I started worried about that for a long
I mean,
time.
Rich does some of it, but not to like, you know,
Yeah, higher stager.
having, you know, McClintock's wife come in and flop pillows and move things around and do her magic.
I think it's important to do that, especially now, because I think what I'm seeing is the homes that aren't perfect are the ones that are getting hit the most.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So who, take a mental picture of this. Promise me you're not gonna ask for a price reduction on the telephone.
100% promise. For sure.
You gotta go. So.
It's a good emoji.
So some tips. So why waiting doesn't work in the seller's favor. Waiting to put the home on the market doesn't work. Waiting to ask for a price reduction, hoping it might sell, doesn't work. Like waiting doesn't really work. Overpricing we know doesn't work in the seller's interest. So we talked, Sean and I talked about it just a few minutes ago, price to the future. So right now, we don't want to leave any money on the table. We're pricing it a little bit above what the most recent home sold for, knowing it's going to be worth more in 3 months from now. But that's the market we kind of have experienced and still experiencing. But the day, we believe the day's coming, we'll see. Some of us are feeling it already a little bit.
We talked about this morning at our ALC meeting. I mean, less was always more, fear of loss, right? We priced it a little light. You're sort of saying the exact opposite of what we were talking about this morning, not saying one's right or the other one's right. You're going where the market's going, 1 or 2% a month going up. But is your listing, I mean, are they sitting, or are you getting multiple offers, or are you just getting offers when they're getting sold?
Yeah, well, ultimately, it's a seller's decision, right? So some of our inventory is not priced where we think it should be. But yeah, we like everybody else, we've had multiple offers on most of our stuff.
Still.
Yeah.
We just put one up yesterday and we already have offers. And we actually thought it was priced a little high. The seller not being reasonable.
Where is that?
Yearly home.
We put a home on the market this weekend in Churchville. We thought it was, oh my God, probably 20, 30,000 higher than we thought, than we recommended. And we got an offer for higher. Yeah.
That wasn't our price point.
689, we were more like 649. It's just a basic Colonial with not many updates. Anyway, an offer for 700 came in.
The one in Bristol, it was like light new construction, the offers on that.
2, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Larry, what was that conversation look like? Price, and it goes way above what you were suggesting.
Yeah, it's the same thing when you're gonna have to ask for the price reduction, right? That you come in and you make a recommendation. And then you have 30 days later, you're gonna say, we missed it. Have you ever eaten dirt? Sometimes you just have. Until you win the lottery. That $1 billion, then you don't have to eat dirt.
Larry, some of this too is when you first go and get that listing. I don't know how everybody does it. I have background in appraisal, so I don't give numbers. I give range and reason why you pick see. That has always helped me on the backside when I go talk about an adjustment, because I've already talked about it. They chose somewhere else in that range. I'm going backwards. The same thing. Do you remember?
Yeah.
We're in a little bit different market, and that does help. Now, if I fall off the table, you're in that situation, but that's always worked.
Yeah, well, you're right. I mean, I remember in the old days, Ed, we used to, at the listing, once they signed the listing agreement, we would make an appointment for 30 days from now to talk about a price reduction. We used to bring, yeah. Yeah. Yep, we would already schedule the meeting
was thinking about that. It came up. I have a problem with that because it's almost defeatist. You know, and if they're trusting you, I'd love to be the backside of someone saying that to a seller, and I'll come in and do it a little bit different. It's gonna sound different.
Mhm.
And you're gonna sell them now. In the beginning. That's how I'm.
Yeah, yeah. However you
I'm
do
just
it,
saying.
you gotta broach the subject up front.
Yeah, you have to talk about it.
Yeah.
And if you do it up front, it's a little bit easier when you actually have to do it.
But we're in a market, we're coming out of a market where sellers have been, are well aware of what has been going on. Yeah. What other tips? So be the most attractive price on the market. It's always nice to have competing offers. Here's one, selling within 30 days for more than you could expect in 120 days. So there's still, the seller still has more leverage early on than 4 months from now. Pricing it right could also save the seller 3 or 4 months of mortgage payments, property taxes.
I had this seller ask me this question, hey, do you think that the want price that I want? It doesn't tell me to take it off, back on, it's in a heartbeat. In the long run.
Yeah. So we can put the home on the market at your price. I just wouldn't recommend the first 30 days. Right, let's use my price the first 30 days. And if it doesn't sell, then we can use your price.
So price increase.
No. But I would, that's not really a good strategy. This doesn't work because the history doesn't go away.
The seller's fishing.
Yeah.
So they're just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
And people do look at the history of the listing. I mean, everybody does.
Yeah.
All your buyers want houses now.
Yeah, but if it comes off and then goes back on, you probably see it. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know.
60 days, it refreshes as it, in the MLS, it refreshes and goes back to 0 after 60 days off the market.
But it's still in the history.
But it's always interesting.
Yeah.
But you have, and you'll see public records, see the history, right? It'll be-
Not public records, it's only through the MLS.
It'll be indexed too on Google, so like there's Zillow and stuff. So when you go back and look, you'll be able to see if it was on the market, came back off.
How far out?
I think I mean.
Well, in the MLS, it takes it all the way back.
it takes
So
the
you know
days
if a home came on the market, went off the market.
Continuously does. But then if it was on the market and came off, that doesn't disappear from Zillow or anything like that.
Yeah.
Or trend, right.
Right, on Bright, it'll set your numbers to 0. But if you were to go look at Zillow, you'll still be able to see that it was on the market 6 months ago or a year ago. You know, it doesn't just because you.
Right.
It resets for Bright, it doesn't reset in Zillow, it's indexed in Google.
Good properties, attractively priced, still sell over the asking price. So here was, I thought, a good one. Let's talk a little bit about the price reduction and how much. What are you thinking when you got to get in front of that seller and ask for a price reduction?
5%.
Yeah. So it's kind of like the monkey on your back, so to speak, right? So if you have our home priced at what, $499, bringing the price to $489, it's gonna do anything?
I saw one that only reduced the price by $100.
Yeah.
It
So,
brings it up to the
I know,
top.
I know,
Searches,
that's why.
that's why.
but here's what really happens.
I learned that trick from someone.
Yeah, but here's what really happens. So the seller says to you, when the home doesn't sell, I gave you a price reduction and you couldn't sell it. Right? So it's almost like, don't even what? Don't take the reduction unless it's 5%. Because it doesn't make a hill of beans of difference if the home's on the market for $499 or $489. the same buyer is gonna see the house. So you need to open it up to what? A new audience. And we believe 5% will accomplish that. So I don't even give my sellers a dollar amount. I give them what? And let them do the math.
What about on the market and no showings or?
Yeah, I mean, we used to say 30 days. It's probably sooner than that in this market, right? I mean, you know right away. You know right away. So I know Justin had a formula on the board, 13 showings or something.
I think it was, I forgot what he said, but I thought it was on, if you had no showing, it was on for a month, then you're 10%.
10%.
Over.
Yeah, 10% is a tough number to go to the seller with. It's probably, you know, you're looking at most sellers, you know, may have
Bob?
30% equity in their home.
No, it's just a
So
conference
Go
call
for
I'm listening to,
10% price reduction, that's
barely
50%
listening
of their
to.
equity.
Huh? I will.
So it's hard to, you know, 5%, we'll bring it into a new bracket. I mean, 5 is the minimum. I mean, if you can get 10, that would be wonderful. But you got to keep in mind, you got to be very empathetic because that price reduction is coming right out of their bottom line. And it might only be 5% of the purchase price. It's 20, 30% of their equity. Most of the time. So I think it's important when you make an appointment to go on a price reduction meeting or market update present meeting is to come prepared with your stuff. So there's typically 3 things I want to accomplish on my price reduction meeting. Here's the agenda. These are the only 3 things we're going to talk about on the price reduction meeting. We're going to talk about what's happening in the market, and I'm going to have statistics to back me up. We're then going to talk about the progress I've made in marketing your home, you know, what we've done, the amount of showings we've had, the feedback we've gotten, the 8 open houses I've held, right? We're gonna talk about the progress we've made. And then, of course, a plan for moving forward. You know, how are we gonna move forward to get your home sold? Yeah, all the time, right? However, it's hard to, if you have the facts with you, I mean, they may not agree with you and they may not acquiesce to a price reduction, but I think it's a conversation you have to have. And yeah, I mean, every seller's a little bit different. I have learned that if it isn't easy on day 1, it's not any easier on day 30. If they're difficult on day 1, they're more difficult on day 30. So this is the meeting. This is the price reduction meeting. What's happening in the market, the progress we've made in marketing your home, what we've done, and we need a plan on moving forward.
So do you kind of lead them into saying, do you think you need a price reduction?
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't call it a price reduction meeting, right? We're calling it a market update meeting. But I'm there for what? Yeah. What's happening in the market, progress in marketing your home, what I've done for the last 30 days, and a plan for moving forward. So I think it's important to know what buyers are thinking today. So what are buyers thinking today? Because I think you need to share this with your seller. So what are buyers thinking today? Yeah. Yeah. So buyers have been beaten up for months, years. Buyers are feeling a little lost in the stock market right now, aren't they? Right? If they opened up their statement 6 months ago and they compare it to the statement they just got at the end of July, yep. So mortgage interest rates, they're saying, at least they're saying to me, it can't keep going up. They're looking at a home more of a place to live as opposed to an investment. Because it's unlikely that it's going to be continue to be worth more next year and the year after. Over time, yes, but not in the immediate future. Some buyers are saying, let's wait and see. So you have to share this with your seller. Buyers are more aware of their monthly payment, and there's because of what's going on in the economy, right? Everything's more. And rising mortgage rates.
Someone said, I mean, my favorite line, they said is, take the rate.
Where is the house, take the rate?
Yeah.
Well, we're seeing, even Mark Keller mentions, we're seeing adjustable rate mortgages again. Which I like the idea of adjustable rate mortgages. Because if you know you're not going to be in the home for more than 7 or 10 years, why would you pay for 30-year money when you only need it for 10 years?
Security. That's why people do it.
Yeah, but you really, I mean, you're overpaying for the money because most people are in their home for 30 years. So if you need the money for 10 years, just buy it for 10 years or 7 years. So here's what's happening, right? More and more inventory. Last year there was little, today there's a little bit more. You're going to see in the next couple of years, there's going to be more inventory. So the buyer profile, last year, people were moving from cities, they worked from home, there were a lot of trade up buyers. They wanted, this pandemic played into it. They wanted yards and swimming pools, in-home offices. The mentality was, I got to get in now because of my return on the investment. I mean, people were making what? 100% return on their investment. You buy a home for $400,000 and you put 20% down. How much is that? $80,000. And then 18 months later, the home's worth $480,000. So the home went from $400,000 to $480,000. So you have an $80,000 profit on an $80,000 investment. Buyers had solid financials, high confidence in the housing market. We were seeing price escalation addendums, multiple offers were normal. These were our buyers 12 months ago. They were waiving home inspections, waiving mortgage contingencies. They would close and rent back. They didn't even want to move in. They do it every time. So we're still seeing a lot of that, but it's beginning to go the other way, right? This year's buyers, I think more first-time home buyers are dumping in. A lot of first-time home buyers didn't even have a shot because they didn't have the funds first for the down payment and then to waive a mortgage contingency. We're starting to see some more calls from investors. They're starting to poke around a little bit. The mentality today, less urgency. They're a little bit more conservative with their spending. There's some concerns that prices may come down. As mortgage rates go up, prices may come down. So we talked about this, right? The absorption rate, I come prepared with the absorption rate for their demographic or geographic area. I explain what kind of market we're in and where we're headed. And I think it's important to do it by price point.
Is that current date on there?
No. And this is a great visual, right? Stuart said it earlier, fear of loss is a greater motivator than an opportunity to gain, right? People are more fear of what they may lose than what they might get. So you can show them, we're good, we're here, but here's, we're 30 days in the market and the market might be shifting. You could get 5 to 10% less if you wait. Which again, 5 to 10% doesn't sound like a lot, but I can tell you it's probably 30, 40% of their equity. So it's a big number. 50% of their equity. So it's important to know how many new listings came on the market, how many went pending, how many price reductions there were. We talked about the progress we've made in marketing your home. Our experience is that on an average, after 12 showings, should have an offer. If we don't have an offer after 12 showings, it's probably what? Right. Competitively priced homes are selling. Talk a little bit about that. I'm certain to bring statistics with me. Active listings. And then this is a great visual. This is a great visual. So the monthly mortgage rates versus monthly payment. So this is for, let me go to the next slide because I wrote it out. So this is a 2% mortgage rate, 4%, 6%, 8%, right, as it goes up. This is the monthly payment. So at 6% on a $416,000 home, 20% down, your principal and interest payment is $19.95. 6 months ago, it was $15.89, just your principal and interest. So the difference between the two is $406 a month. It's a 25% increase in your monthly payment or in your principal and interest payment, which is a huge, right? What goes up 25%? Yes. So this is important to explain to the seller why we're seeing a little slowdown in the multiple offers in the market. I think we're almost done here. So the market, this is something my plan for moving forward. So the market is telling us by the absence of any offers to generate fresh interest by repositioning your home. This will bring a whole new group of buyers. That $10,000 price reduction is not going to bring a whole new set of eyes. The way people search today on the internet or on Trend, right, what is it? Right. Right, it's increments. So we believe 5%, a minimum of 5% will bring it into a whole new level. And we need your home to stand out among all the properties. So who said it earlier? This is what, right? So we didn't go in for a price reduction, but here's where we asked, how would you like your home to be positioned in the market? And what do you think they say?
So
What do you think? No. So the seller says, I say this to the seller, how would you like your home to be positioned in the market? And they say, what do you think? They do. And I say, well, if it was me, I would do a 5% price reduction. I would recommend a 5% price reduction. And then you see them doing the math in their head. So I believe that the fall market is going to be wonderful. It's just going to be different. And a lot of this is a little bit premature because we're still seeing multiple offers, but we think it's coming. So questions for me?
Just to clarify on those, like if things don't move to the house, they wait 30 days.
So there's a lot of thought on that. I think Justin had something up here. Does anybody remember? I thought it was 9 showings in 2 weeks or,
I think it was in the realm of 2 weeks.
yeah,
Maybe have it shorter.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's like 14 days or 10 days.
Yeah.
It's a really close.
Yeah.
It's like 5 days showing in the first 10 days. You won't have an offer, but that 5 days showing in the first 10 days.
Right.
Then do 5% off. And if you've been on the market for 30 days with no showings, that was his number, just 10% off. No offers and no showings in the
Yeah.
first 30 days.
I remember, Stuart, it's still embedded in my mind what we used to say. What I used to say to a seller. I would say to a seller, and the statistics would back me up, like almost every time. Homes are selling within 30 days of coming on the market or its most recent price reduction. It was rare to find a home 60 days on the market with no price reduction that would go under contract. You could find them, but homes, for the most part, homes are selling within 30 days of coming on the market or within the first price reduction, within the price reduction. 30 days from the time it's coming on the market or price reduction.
So you get a price reduction, you better bet it sells.
Yeah, that's what that's what the statistics say. It might not be the first price reduction, but within a price reduction.
I like that.
So if we reduce the price and we're 30 days from now and it's still at the throw, homes are selling within 30 days of a price reduction from coming on the market or from the price reduction. Now you would occasionally find a home if you went 45 days on the market, no price, you have one under contract. But for the most part, the majority of the homes that would go under contract, they would go under within 30 days of hitting the market or within 30 days of a price reduction.
Outside of like the aggravation, I mean, we don't want to be married to our sellers. We want that marriage really short, right? As short as possible.
That ship sailed soon.
Uh-huh.
That ship has sailed.
But outside of that, Nana said something earlier, she said like if someone was fishing and if they wanted to go and put it on just to see. So you do overprice a house, you guys just listed a house, you said higher than you wanted to.
Yeah.
In the end, are there some statistics on that that show, if we would have listed it this, we actually would have gotten more?
I believe that.
Because I sort of do too, but I don't know.
In this market, I believe it in this market. We've learned over the last 12 months that buyers are driving prices up as opposed to pricing it high and having to make an adjustment. The seller's netting more money at the end of the day. I believe that from what we've learned. But I would say this. You can't get a price reduction on a listing you don't have. Take the listing.
Not that I can agree with that.
Take the listing.
And Larry always tells me that we'll get other listings from that listing.
Yeah, you'll generate other business.
So that, we'll say, and that is very true. Because the neighbors usually turn around, you start talking to the neighbor for the other towns, or you just cold call the neighbors to say.
You guys are so good at calling.
And it's done. What's that?
You guys are so good at calling.
No, it's just, so even if you don't sell that house, I mean.
Now, everything's been selling and you'll get really good at reducing price reduction. But you don't own the home or you don't even have it, you're just a broker. You buy Apple stock on the way up and you buy it on the way down.
I helped sell my friend's house and they saw something on Zillow, so they were so dead on that price. And I knew the house had all like, it was a new town, but had all builder's grade stuff that's like 15 years old. And I know what the other house is like. I'm like, we price this a little bit lower, like 675, it's gonna go significantly higher. We had 67 showings in 2 days.
They listen to you.
No, they didn't.
Oh.
One in at 700,000. They only sold it for 5 over asking because no one wanted to compete because they knew they had to put money into the house.
Yes.
We would have gone in lower.
That's a great point.
It would have gone much higher.
Yeah.
And that was the reply from every single person that we got. They just had a number in their head. I'm like, can you just trust me on this one? I know what I'm doing.
We see that a lot, we see that a lot, where we tell them, but.
Yeah, they have this, and they're really close friend, like he coached my daughter for 6 years, so like, my daughter can be benched for a while, but they didn't get their number now. But that was, and they actually got their house priced below, we got it for less than it was a year ago, so which was insane. I'm like, oh no, we'll get this number. They could have probably got at least 25 more if they priced it lower, because the buyers would have said, oh, I want this house, as opposed to going in, oh, I'm at a higher end for this house and it has so much work to be done. And now I'm going to be competing with people because they get afraid of competing. We see that with our buyers too.
Yeah, because lumber prices are expensive.
Yeah, well, and I think people beat up. They've been, they've put in 18,000 offers and haven't gotten it. And they're like, okay, I see all of this activity at this house. I'm gonna be in a multiple offer.
Thank you.
It's worth, and then they don't go. And it's true.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So you're telling us about what we want to go.
certificate, that's what you went from the
So
when
it
when
really is
you-
home
that's a
specific
requirement when you sell.
and we don't want to discourage a seller.
Yeah, and if you see in that certificate,
But
it's exactly what kind of property is it, like it says, 3 dwelling units, that's any violation. That's the only document the LNI license and inspection produces in order for us to.
we're gonna get started. I think it's.
And we
gonna
know
hit
if
the
it's any,
upgrade.
if it's any, like, we will see if there, if it's violations, if it's anything in regards to the property. So that's a property certificate.
But we still have some.
And every sale, that's what we give.
And I think
Yeah, that's why we're not seeing it.
Yeah.
And it could be another year before the supply problem fixes itself.
I think it's gonna be really gradual.
Yeah, and that's exactly it, that unless he come up with another document, I don't know about it, but that's it.
I mean, I haven't done
Whatever,
a
it's no
price
violations, I check in Eclipse,
Everything is selling.
And it says property is,
Better get
it says
ready.
exactly property complete
Getting ready.
and everything is fine with the property. I checked. So I don't know if they confuse it with another property or what happened, but I did check and it says everything is fine. It says Elena complete, everything is complete. So I don't know. Sorry, but I cannot sell a property in Philadelphia unless I possess it. It is a requirement, you know.
We're taking over the listing and they're.
It is.
And at night music, just so you know, right?
So, we had no, virtually no competition.
And you see that, and you say the date that was, so
I'm trying to-
I check in the contract and everything, you purchase a property as well, if I'm not mistaken, August, September, on August,
Good.
I think it's still going. Hit.
October, yes, but in the same year.